Coming up, Tzu Chi volunteers in Singapore celebrate their 21st anniversary by holding a bowing pilgrimage. In Taiwan, Tzu Chi volunteers island-wide prepare blessing and wisdom red envelopes for the year-end blessing ceremonies. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Anita Lee. Thank you for joining us. Celebrating the efforts that Tzu Chi has put in over the last 21 years in Singapore, 360 volunteers took part in a pilgrimage at their local Jingsi Hall to commemorate its anniversary. Following the pilgrimage, senior volunteers were also invited to share with other volunteers their experience in walking the Tzu Chi path. After watching the Master's morning Dharma lecture, 360 volunteers gather outside the Jingsi Hall to take part in a pilgrimage to mark 21 years of Tzu Chi in Singapore.
When the procession headed towards the Jingsi Hall, I felt as if the Master was guiding us forward. Volunteers of the Tzu Chi Singapore chapter will continue to follow in the Master's footsteps on the Bodhisattva path.
With a heart of sincerity, volunteers recite the Buddha's name. A volunteer who was injured in an accident 2 weeks ago insisted on taking part in the pilgrimage, while other volunteers brought their children to experience the solemnity of the event.
Seeing how dignified and solemn the procession was, I hope my children can keep up and at the same time experience the volunteers' sincerity.
比较安静，不是会很烦。脚会有点痛。
If we extend our love and this affinity to all the volunteers, I believe no one will fall behind.
To walk the Tzu Chi path, the support of one's Dharma family is just as important as recruiting new members. In addition, the experience and wisdom of senior volunteers also needs to be passed down.
When I encounter obstacles along the way, if I apply the Master's Dharma, I am able to pick myself up again. I always remember the Master's 4 principles, that is to be understanding, accommodating, content, and grateful.
Celebrating 21 years of Tzu Chi, Singapore volunteers look to create a future that will be just as inspiring and fruitful, while never forgetting their initial aspiration. Becoming a certified Tzu Chi volunteer is no easy thing, as trainees have to learn how to conduct themselves properly, as well as how to cultivate their minds. Therefore, in Indonesia, Tzu Chi held a camp for trainees, giving them a chance to further cultivate themselves.
Here at the Pantai Indah Kapuk Jingsi Hall, a supplementary volunteer training camp is being held. Altogether, 519 volunteers and volunteers in training signed up.
Tema tahun ini adalah keluarga kita yang kedua, rumah kita yang kedua.
This year's topic is We Are One Family. So during this camp, we want to explain to everyone what exactly is the Tzu Chi family, so they can better understand those who are part of that family.
Siapa keluarga apa?
Whether it is through sign language performances or learning how to carry themselves, each trainee experienced the spirit of Tzu Chi and remember why they joined Tzu Chi in the first place.
Tentunya saya ingin mengajak lebih banyak orang ya untuk berjalan di jalan Bodhisattva.
We want to bring more people onto the Bodhisattva path. The Master taught us how to live with wisdom and how to improve our cultivation. From that moment on, I vowed to become a Tzu Chi commissioner.
Menjadi mungkin nggak tahu kapan, tapi saya akan berkomitmen, saya akan menjadi komite.
Waktu itu ada donor darah, jadi saya.
During one blood donation drive, the volunteers were looking for those with A, O, and B type blood. I decided to donate. As I was donating, I realized the blood I was giving was in fact helping others. It was an amazing thought, and I decided then and there to join Tzu Chi.
Saya sangat bahagia sekali bisa bergabung di Tzu Chi.
Working as one, everyone knows that in the future, their path will be one that is walked together.
For his wife and daughter, Tan Wen-zhong of Geelong, Taiwan, was often a difficult man to deal with. However, after spending time with Tzu Chi and becoming a volunteer in training, Tan's temperament has changed for the better. Now he and his wife have made a commitment to join the Tzu Chi family at the end of this year.
In the eyes of his wife and daughter, Tan Wenzong was this type of person.
Even if we felt everything was going well and there were no problems, we would suddenly be yelled at by him.
It was impossible to bear. I thought the house was better without him in it, as whenever he was around, the atmosphere would darken. Everything our daughter did seemed to make him angry.
It seemed that there was no hope for this family. However, after joining a Tzu Chi volunteer training program, Tan learned some important life lessons at the DaAi nursing home.
先生，
跟小孩啦，
哦，小孩哦，但你
亲
这个
生小孩。
也不会至于失败。
能不能？
Seeing the seniors spending their golden years alone, Wenzong came to a certain understanding of the impermanence of life.
他是不舍，那他有时候会掉下
He
眼泪。
didn't want to see me go and would sometimes cry. It made me not want to leave either. So I told him that I would come to see him next
所以
month.
我都会跟他讲说，我们下个月一定还会再来看你。
After doing Tzu Chi, his temper has become better. Now he will talk to me calmly and explain where I made a mistake and how I can improve.
Regardless if it is taking care of the elderly or working to help the environment, through Tzu Chi's activities and its Buddhist philosophies, Tan Wenzong has learned to be softer with everyone he meets, starting with his family.
Parents and teachers have to first be good role models. This is an important idea for me. When I see my daughter do something wrong or act in the wrong way, I will now first reflect on myself and see if the cause is not in fact my own actions. I will then work to change myself with the help of my husband.
自我调整。
At the end of this year, husband and wife will become certified as Tzu Chi commissioners, with the changes during this introductory period making it time to remember.
Migratory birds used to frequent Taiwan due to the island's ample wetlands, which allowed the birds to breed and feed. But humans also relied on the wetlands for aquaculture, such as oyster farms and fisheries. In today's look at what has become a lost paradise for birds, we learn that such industries can actually help bring back the birds. In algal wetlands in Jiayi, Taiwan, several northern pintails glide gracefully onto the water. Northern shabblers and tufted ducks also come to join the water ballet. It is hard to believe the wetlands was formerly fisheries.
In fisheries, there tend to be more benthic organisms, so they will naturally attract migratory birds.
After traveling long distances, migratory birds need to feed to replenish their lost energy. However, the nets humans put up to protect their fisheries are lethal to the birds.
No matter what kind of net it is, birds won't be able to spot it if it's underwater.
In 2012, the algal wetlands was officially made a wildlife sanctuary. Thus, anything that would harm an animal was deemed illegal.
Besides regular police patrols, even Coast Guards and Thai Sugar personnel will help patrol the area. We are also asking local residents to help out.
Residents are taught to help protect the environment and migratory birds. This past February, volunteer Cai Gonghe noticed one black-faced spoonbill being ganged up by its companions.
I just grabbed it barehanded and brought it back immediately for a checkup.
After a month of recuperation, the spoonbill was released and flew away, while Cai felt he had finally found his calling. He gave up his business elsewhere and returned home to take on his father's fishery business, but the 36-year-old man wanted to do things differently.
As you can see, at the bottom of this pond is abundant natural kelp, which the fish here feed on. No man-made fish feed is used here. The self-sustaining food chain of the pond provides migratory birds with the food they need.
With the arrival of the birds, the area is transformed into a bird-watching park.
I actually feel that the birds have saved us. Before, fishermen would chase the birds away. They don't do that now. Now, we hope more birds will want to come here.
In Da Peng Bay, Pingdong, a habitat suitable for migratory birds was also created unintentionally.
This is a private fishery within the Dapeng Bay wetlands. As you can see, oyster farmers have set up racks to grow oysters here, which affects the water quality.
The 530 hectares bay used to be full of oyster eggs, which robbed birds of living space.
There were so many oyster racks that they slowed down water circulation.
By 2002, most of the racks had been removed to restore the bay to the way it was. The government also built 6 man-made wetlands, which can shelter birds and purify water.
The wastewater from nearby communities and fisheries used to be directed to the bay via this water channel. Now we have installed a gate here which diverts the wastewater to our artificial wetlands first.
Once the water quality improved, life returned to the bay. It is thanks to a variety of mangroves that helped repair the disrupted ecology.
The destruction of wetlands along the coast of China is very damaging to migratory birds in East Asia. So in Taiwan, we should do what we can to protect wetlands along our coast.
Aquaculture and the conservation of migratory birds can go hand in hand. In fact, only by ensuring the survival of wildlife can we humans guarantee our own survival. It's once again nearing the end of the year, which means Tzu Chi volunteers are preparing for year-end blessing ceremonies across the island. Preparations include the assembly of blessing and wisdom red envelopes, which have already begun in various parts of the country.
On their first day of putting together Tzu Chi's red envelope of blessing and wisdom at the Nehu Liaison Office, participants realize it's not so easy.
There can't be too much glue, and the lines need to line up correctly. The enlightened one also needs to be carefully adjusted. Every step is difficult, so we must focus our concentration, just like the master said.
A team of volunteers take care to explain each step to the community volunteers putting together the red envelopes.
By minimizing mistakes, there will be less time spent on correcting errors.
When we are walking the Bodhisattva path, one needs to cultivate wisdom. Thus, we can think of this as a way to increase our wisdom.
While working to complete the over 2,000 red envelopes, volunteers encounter obstacles. But 84-year-old volunteer Xu Huang does not let the hurdles dim her passion for Tzu Chi.
In the beginning, when the assembly took place in Hualien, I'd go there to help, but now that it has become a community affair, I come to my local office to do it.
I want to thank everyone for their time and efforts.
Doing their part in spreading blessings to the community at large, participants work to finish their enormous task. In Banqiao, New Taipei City, another group of seniors is preparing for the year-end blessing ceremonies as well, like Huang Hengyi, who has been moving heavy boxes since early this morning.
I'm already in my 70s. If I don't give now, then when? As long as one is able to, we should put an effort into giving our strength.
In turning cardboard tubes into bamboo coin banks, the threads on the tubes must first be removed, which takes time. However, volunteer Xu Gui'e doesn't mind.
I'm blessed to be able to leave the house. I'm in good company here. I'm fortunate to participate.
Next, a top and a cover are glued on to form a bamboo coin bank ready for adoption.
The amount of glue has to be just right, so it doesn't spill over the sides.
Meanwhile, another senior volunteer is helping to assemble the red envelopes filled with blessing and wisdom.
I'm very glad to be able to participate. I've been doing this for 3 years now.
With so many people looking forward to Tzu Chi's year-end blessing ceremony and receiving the red envelopes, volunteers like these work diligently to prepare for the event. Although small in hand, Tzu Chi's red envelope is actually significant in wisdom and blessings. For example, the raindrop cutout, not only does it signify the waters of the Dharma, but also how wisdom enlightens sentient beings.
The Master not only wants the Dharma to reach our hearts and souls, but that we don't forget the joy we experienced at the Dharma transmission ceremony, and thus continue walking the Bodhi path.
This year, besides the commemorative Tzu Chi coin, there is a version with the 5 NT coin.
When the commemorative coin ran out, the 5 NT version was the alternative, as 5 yuan in Taiwanese sounds very auspicious.
Standing on top of Vulture Peak, Sakyamuni Buddha brings comfort to all sentient beings. When viewed from a different angle, the peak's platform looks like a Dharma vessel ready to set sail, spreading wisdom to all. Stars that represent Tzu Chi sparkle in the universe, while the circular tracks are there as a reminder to not stray from the right path. The 3 rice grains, which were grown at the DaAi farm at Dalian Tzu Chi Hospital, symbolizes Tzu Chi's humanitarianism.
First, the grains represent precepts, meditation, and wisdom. Second, there are also seeds which can be planted to blossom into something great, as we should never underestimate the power of one person. Third, when the rice is ready for harvest, its top is heavy and bows down, which is something we hope to learn in life, humility.
With its meaningful details, each red envelope is filled with Master Zhenyan's well wishes and the love of Tzu Chi volunteers. In Taichung, counting her blessings at being able to participate in the assembling of Tzu Chi's red envelope is volunteer Huang Li-zhen. Having battled an illness last year, Huang kept her spirits up by telling herself she can't succumb to the illness, as her path with Tzu Chi isn't over yet.
Tzu Chi warms my heart, and I'm happy to be out and around people.
Despite still feeling weak from her sickness, Huang is determined to do her part for the year-end blessing ceremony. Another volunteer who has learned to seize the moment is Xu Su-qing, who lost her mother-in-law last year. Feeling the impermanence of life, this year, Xu brought her mother to spend some time together.
Tie the 2 together, tie tightly.
It's no wonder that Tzu Chi's year-end blessing ceremonies are filled with so much love, as it is community volunteers like these that make the events especially heartwarming.
In Taiwan, 40 students from National Defense University recently paid a visit to DaAi TV. The students were not only impressed with the professionalism and dedication of the staff, at the end of their visit, many also aspired to model themselves after the efforts of the Tzu Chi volunteers. Watching an introductory film on DaAi TV, these 40 young men are students of Taiwan's National Defense University. Their first stop was at the broadcasting department. Next, they visited the central control room, where they witnessed the professionalism and teamwork of the DaAi TV staff.
Seeing how other media outlets operate, our students will be able to implement what they have learned here today in their workplace. This visit has broadened their scope of thinking and provided them with a wider perspective.
In order to evolve, one needs to expand one's horizons as well. For instance, giving anchoring a go. Compared to giving out commands in front of the camera, many seemed more rigid and tense. Wang Pengchen and his mother are all fans of DaAi TV, hence he is particularly excited about this visit.
We saw how challenging it is to produce news that inspires positivity and goodness. It takes a lot of practice and discipline.
Wang came to understand that the success of a television station comes from the accumulation of everyone's efforts, much like how Tzu Chi volunteers work in unity on the front lines.
I've seen how the brothers and sisters give so willingly and selflessly in disaster-stricken areas. Their altruism is incredible, and these are qualities we in the armed forces continue to advocate.
After a much rewarding visit to DaAi TV, these young men have been inspired to take after the Tzu Chi volunteers and to safeguard Taiwan and its citizens with the same perseverance and determination. Also in Taiwan, volunteers and members of the Geelong Tzu Chi Teachers Association make monthly visits to the Wan Li Zheng-ai nursing home. Knowing how seniors enjoy old-time classics, volunteers made sure to put on a variety of performances for their audience. Sing some old-time favorites is Tzu Chi volunteer Wang Junxian. His deep, warm voice resonates throughout the room. This time, he even brought an umbrella as his prop.
I learned a few songs 1 or 2 weeks prior to our visit because I don't want to let the seniors down. I'm also really grateful to them for putting up with my voice. Thank you.
We have a hot spring at home, and he practices his singing in the bathroom. I always worried the neighbors will call the police because they could hear him singing sometimes for hours on end.
Members of the Geelong Tzu Chi Teachers Association and volunteers pay monthly visits to the Wan Li Ren'ai nursing home. Performing on the saxophone, volunteer Wang Jingtian originally played for rehearsal purposes.
After my first visit here, I realized that many seniors still anticipate and look forward to our monthly visits.
Even if we just play some tunes for them to enjoy, it cheers them up. When he came, the grandma was really happy to see him. I encouraged him to come visit them more often.
Among the volunteers were husband and wife and mother and child teams. Together, they extended their love to others while gaining inner joy through selfless giving. The 18th Taipei Innovative Textile Application Show opened its doors this Wednesday. This year, 367 vendors from 11 countries came to demonstrate their products, marking the biggest participation in the show's history. The theme this year is stylish, functional, and eco-friendly garments.
The debut of World Cup jerseys made from PET bottles helped bring attention to Taiwan's textile industry. 10 teams participating in this year's FIFA World Cup wore made-in-Taiwan jerseys, fabricated from recycled PET bottles. Such green technology has brought glory to Taiwan's textile industry.
In recent global competitions, whether it's the Olympics or the World Games, several athletes wore our environmentally friendly garments made from recycled PET bottles.
All the material are recycled by our recycling volunteers.
At the stall of DaAi Technology, a sales representative introduces the company's many environmentally friendly products, such as a LED backpack or various garments made from fibers extracted from recycled PET bottles. The company's conservation efforts deeply moved a Korean designer.
Recycling fabric to make the traditional clothes, it's touching me.
The Korean designer hopes that she can take our concept of environmental conservation back to her country.
The 18th Taipei Innovative Textile Application Show features 760 stalls, manned by 367 companies from 11 countries, making this year the largest in the show's history. Together, everyone strives towards functionality and trend-setting, while remaining environmentally friendly.
We go to China at the end of our show. To educate students on the importance of environmental protection, Shanghai's Dongjiang Elementary School recently visited the Tzu Chi Jiading Environmental Education Center. We leave you with these images at the end of our show. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.